is Jenny from the Sewing Palace in Helena, Montana. Thanks for joining me for the online quilt-along. It's featured out of the Double Dozen book by Kaye England. And this month, we're on month 4 already, and we'll be making the Barrister's block. It's made out of half-square triangles, and I'm going to show you some great ways for making it. Come on over and I'll show you the accessories. So some of these things are very helpful for making quilts, but also making very accurate half-square triangle units. So most importantly is the block lock ruler. This is a half-square triangle block lock ruler, and this is the 6.5-inch ruler. They come in various sizes. This one will cut 6.5 and smaller, which will be great for our block. You'll also want some good quality thread. This is Italian-made Orifil thread. Absolutely love it. It's wonderful. You'll also want a nice sharp rotary cutter with a great blade in it. A marking utensil. This is a friction iron erase pen. You'll need a rotating mat, which I have hidden underneath. You'll need a pressing mat. This is a Woolly Wonders wool pressing mat. It's fabulous. It also soaks up your seams and makes your block lay nice and flat. You'll need a great iron to press your seams. You'll also need a wonderful sewing machine with a 1/4-inch presser foot, and you'll want some Best Press. So Best Press comes in various flavors or scents. There is non-scented as well, and this is a small travel size. We also have a medium size, and then if you absolutely love this stuff like I do, you buy it in a gallon, just like this, and you fill up your jug when you need it. The fresh linen is wonderful. So those are some gadgets you'll need to make your block successfully and accurately. Now let's look a little closer at our block. We are on page 5. So here we are on block 4. This is the Barrister's block. And I have it blown up a little bit bigger. I'm going to show you that because I made some changes to the cutting. It's right here. So when I've made the changes to the cutting, it's been for some of the fabrics to make the half-square triangle units. Well, most of the units are half-square triangle units. If you look at the block, these are half-square triangle units. And then all these little guys are half-square triangle units. The only thing that is not are these 4 solid squares. So you'll need a light, a medium, and a dark, and we have 2 colorways here that are out of the traditional. If you look up here at the block, this is our traditional colorway. It's got that gorgeous green, and then a taupe color, and then a light color for the background, which is this kit here. And then if you want to do this bright colored block, which is out of Kaye fabrics, that is a light, a medium, and a dark. So those are those fabrics there. When you get ready to cut them, your change will be right here. So let's look at the block. Here we are on our larger half-square triangle units. You will need to make 4. When you make them, you yield 2. So you cut 2 dark and 2 medium. I've changed these cuts from 5 3/8 to 5 3/4, cutting them a little bit bigger, and we'll trim them down. When we get to these half-square triangle units, they are a light and a dark, and those are B, so light and dark B. You cut a whopping 12 of them because we need to yield 24. Instead of cutting on them 2 3/8, you're going to cut them 2 3/4. When you're all done and you're going to square these up, you're going to square up the larger ones, or A units, to 5 inches, and the B units, you're going to trim them down to 2 inches. So let me show you how to trim them down and how to sew your blocks together. So first we'll look at the larger unit, which is a light and a dark fabric right here. I have laid them right sides together. When I started off, I cut those 5 3/4. They're laid right sides together, and then I mark a line from point to point. I'll generally use a larger ruler so that I can intersect those 2 points, and then I will use my friction pen and I will mark that line like so. After my line is marked, I'll go over to my sewing machine and I'll sew on each side a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to show you that here on the sewing machine just by simulating it. When you line that up, the edge of your 1/4 inch foot will be along the line, and then you'll sew in one direction this way, you'll flip it, and then you'll sew the other way. This one's already been sewn with magical thread, and it is sewn like so. So there's 1, and there's 2. When you're all done, you'll have 2 units, that look somewhat like this. And what you want to do is you want to square them up so that they're a nice, accurate 5-inch cut. So I'm going to get ready on my rotating mat, and I'm going to use my block lock ruler. I've pressed the seam towards the dark fabric, so that seam is laying this way, and I'm laying it flat like so. When I lock my seam into place, it should lock right along that seam. You see it sliding beautifully? And when you lock it in, your point will be right on that diagonal line. That is the correct way to lock in a block lock ruler. Now I'm going to flip it over to show you the incorrect way, just so you see what that would look like. When it's locked in incorrectly, that diagonal point will be 1/4 of an inch off your seam. So you always want to make sure seam is facing you and you can read the ruler and you lock it into place. So your first cut will be trimming off these sides. So I'm going to get my nice sharp rotary cutter, and I'm going to cut that side and that side. I'll pull away my waist, and then I'm going to slide my ruler to the corresponding measurement. So come on and take a closer look here. What we're going to do is we're going to slide our ruler into place. I need to trim this to 5 inches. My 5-inch mark is right here. So as I slide along that seam, it'll be along that 5-inch line there, and then I will trim this side and this side. So I hold this steady and then trim. Like so. When you're finished, you have a beautiful, perfect half-square triangle unit, and it will go into your block like so. Pretty easy. Now let's talk about the little guys. It's basically the same thing, and you can use this block lock ruler to do it. You're going to lay a light fabric and a dark fabric, right sides together. You're going to mark a line from point to point. You'll sew on each side of the line, which will yield 2 pieces that look like that. You'll separate them. You'll press towards the dark, let it lie flat, and then this unit is trimmed so that it is 2 inches. Again, I've locked into my seam. I can read my ruler, and my seam is facing that direction. I'm going to trim, and I'm going to trim. I'm going to slide my ruler and cut at the 2-inch mark. There I am at 2 inches. I'm going to cut and cut. So there we are. We have our beautiful half-square triangle cut down to 2 inches. I'll bring over my block so you can take a peek on how to put it together. So putting this block together, you're going to lay your half-square triangle units into the corresponding places. Your darks will face out, and then they'll face in for the other 2 squares. Your light squares will be here, here, and here that are the solid. The rest of the half-square triangles will form a unit that looks like a bear paw block. To sew those together, you'll sew a unit of 3 together using 1/4 of an inch seam. So you sew that to that, and that to that, and you'll have a unit that is 3 in a row, and then you'll sew those 2 to that. Then you'll sew a unit of 4 and sew that unit to that. Repeat that here, here, and here, and then sew your block together. Pretty simple construction and very basic units, which is half-square triangle units. You can also make a beautiful holiday pillow like we have over to the side. It's featured in the most current Quilts and More magazine from winter 2019, and we've used that cute Barrister's block and made a rendition of it out of a holiday pillow. So get ready to start sewing. Thanks for joining me for the holiday quilt along, or the online quilt along for Saturday Sampler. This is Jenny from the Sewing Palace signing off. Bye-bye.